Snyder, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do to make Mother Earth happier. It was in 1987 I read John Robbins' book, Diet for a New America, and from his research he discovered that 50% of the food grown in Mexico goes to the cattle that come up here to make hamburgers. So I decided to be a vegetarian, and that's worked well since 1987. We do several things at our house to honor Mother Earth. We decided not to have children, but we adopted 3. So we weren't adding to the world population until they all got married and had a bunch of kids. But we bought a Pacifica hybrid in 2019, and so we run the van mostly on electricity, very rarely by gas. So that's just a few of the ways that we contribute to Mother Earth.
My name is Bill Walsh. My wife and I have been driving electric vehicles for the last 8.5 years. When I was on the Third Mutual board, the board was a very proactive board, and we installed about 1 gigabyte of solar panels on 3-story buildings here in the community. Really love living here and hope that people that follow us on this planet have a happy life, not worrying about all of the trash we left. Thank you.
My name is Susan Letzenheiser. I've been living in the village for 8 years now. We have figured out a lot of ways to keep our energy bill nice and small. One of the things we do is be really careful of the heat we use. Might only heat one room that we're in. We're not sitting in the dark, we're not freezing, but we're just being very conscientious. Another thing we do is whenever I do like to cook. My husband and I both usually eat at home, cook full meals, and I know a lot of people don't use their oven, but if you do use your oven, make sure you fill it up. Get a couple of meals or 3 meals out of that one meal that you turn the oven on. The other thing is we just recently bought an air fryer, and that is basically a baby convection oven. So I encourage you all to listen to what other people have to say, get some good tips, and have some fun.
Hi, everybody. My name is Barbara Seary. I'm with Concerned Citizens, and my goal is to recycle my clothing as much as possible. And I do that in 2 ways. First, I went through my closet and decided to get all of the clothes that I no longer wear, but that were in very good shape. And I'm bringing it into a new store called Savor, which is on Moulton. If you bring in your used in good shape clothing, they'll give you a deep discount, in this case 20%, and you can go in and buy their recycled clothes with a huge variety. My goal is to recycle my own clothes and only buy recycled clothes as much as possible. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Hi, Barbara Seary again, and I wanted to talk to you about another topic, and that's something that it's a little private, but we do it every day, and that's using toilet paper. Now, paper, as you probably know, uses a tremendous number of trees, and so I was looking around for an alternative to that, and there are alternatives, and one has the hilarious little title of Who Gives a Crap? And this is bamboo toilet paper, bamboo manufactured toilet paper, and it's actually quite soft. It's not very expensive. This box here holds something like 6 rolls. So please consider alternatives to those private little experiences that we all have every day and help Mother Nature. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alan Feldman, and I want to talk about composting. My family, my wife Valerie and myself have been composting for years and years and years. There's recycling, which is of course just newspapers and glass and things like that, but there's also composting. And this is really more for Valerie, my wife, because she's the one who does it every day, rain, shine, cold, hot, warm, whatever. She takes that compost and she takes it out. We do it because it's a good way to dispose of our garbage without polluting the atmosphere any further. Being knowledgeable about the environment in general. is literally being knowledgeable. There are so many products and so many things that we can use that we don't, because we don't know about them, that can replace things like plastic and paper and so forth. So let's be aware.
Hi there, my name is Suzanne Modial, and I am the president of Concerned Citizens. I wholly endorse this effort that we're doing of trying to give residents tips as to how they can make our environment greener or keep it green. So there are 2 or 3 things I could pass on that I do. They're not particularly unusual. One is that I do use a mixture of mesh and store available plastic bags for my fruits and vegetables. But when I use the store available, I try to use the compostable, but also I use them and reuse them and reuse them. I take them to the farmer's market or whatever until they're falling apart. Now, on a wholly different vein, I would say that another thing I do is I try to save paper. Whenever I have a piece of paper that's only used on one side, I have a pile on a cabinet of the other side is blank. It's actually quite a thick pile, and you'd be amazed. I rarely does it get diminished, because as I use it, somehow or other, even despite my knowing it, another piece of paper has emerged that's only used on one side. Most paper is not getting as much use as it might. We're all basically using too much paper. I don't know that we want to be completely paperless, but let's completely use the paper. So those are my tips. Perhaps they're helpful to you. And there are a lot of other tips along on this video, many of which I encourage you to incorporate.
Hello, my name is Richard Snyder. With my wife, beautiful Sue. We've lived in the village about 12 years now. And it's really become necessary to take over recycling. There's a lot of stuff about recycling that kind of gets tricked into us. You can put your plastic bag here and we'll recycle it for you, but all it does is get sent to Taiwan where they pile them up. What we've been doing is every time I get a little bit of food that comes in a plastic or a cellophane wrapper, I save that little bag. I save it, roll it up with the other ones and collect them. I will put it into my little plasticky cellophane bag and make sure that that eventually gets into the trash. But I've learned a lot, and I'm happy to be where I am, and I think I'm doing the right thing.
My name is Tony Beltran. I'm a Laguna Woods resident, and I just want to talk about Chevy Bolt 2021 that we bought 4 years ago. And I just want to say the things that I like about it. It's its performance on the road. It doesn't need a lot of repairs. The maintenance is sort of once every 6 months, but every month we get over the internet, we get a report on its major systems and how they are. And so far, after 4 years, there hasn't been any, there have not been any problems with its systems. And then thirdly, it feels good to be in a car that's not polluting the air, even if, you know, the what went into making the car and the battery are still problems to be solved. At least, you know, it's a step in the right direction. So from the standpoint of trying to go in the right direction, well, it gives me a personal pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sherry Court. I used to sit on vector control for 10 years. Vector control controls diseases like and mosquitoes and rats and red fire ants and things like that. So to control your own environment, if you don't like getting bitten by mosquitoes and getting eaten up, because we have every kind of mosquito in the world here now. Any disease that there is, dengue, chikungunya, West Nile virus, all of them can be carried by mosquitoes. So, and no one thing keeps all mosquitoes away, because some mosquitoes are night and some mosquitoes fly during the day. The Aedes aegypti mosquito loves to live on us, and it lives in our house, and a tiny bit of water in a plant saucer would be enough for them to breathe. Even outside, just water that collects from the sprinklers in a potato chip bag or something. If it just sits there for 5 days, those mosquitoes can breed. So I live in a 3-story building. when you go downstairs, there are large plants that the mutual puts out. And so they're very big, and it's impossible to drain and toss and tip the saucer. So water collects in there frequently. There's something that you can buy at Home Depot or anywhere else. It's called mosquito bits. It's a non-toxic substance that looks like little bitty ground up corn cobs. And you just take a little handful and you throw it in there, and you do that once every 2 weeks, and it will disrupt the breeding cycle. The mosquitoes will not be able to form, and so they won't be able to live, and the number of mosquitoes right around you will go away, because mosquitoes don't fly very far. They fly maybe 3 or 4 miles. So that's a way to control your environment, to keep your immediate area safer for you. And if you and your neighbors do it, throw some down the storm drains, because a lot of water from the sprinklers goes down in the drain and just sits there. So this is a non-toxic, easy-to-use, cheap way to keep mosquitoes away from you and reduce their numbers. So enjoy your summer. And now it's no longer a mosquito season. They're here all the time. But you have power to do something about it. So enjoy your outdoors.
You too.
Thank you.
I think it's very important to work towards new safety environment. I like to go to the beach, and when we walk along the beach and I see the crab that comes out of our ocean, it upsets me terribly. Thank you.
Well, my name's Gloria Moldow. My husband Bert and I moved here, bought our house in 2009, and he immediately insisted on putting solar on our roof. And I fought it all the way. I thought that's ridiculous, but what a great idea it was. Our bills went from over $1,000 a year to nothing, but as the fees have increased, they've increased somewhat. So we have more than paid off our solar and have enjoyed it. In addition, we bought one of the first electric cars that were in the community. Again, that was just something we wanted to do. We got an early Tesla. And subsequent to that, and the Tesla, by the way, we've been able to plug into the garage where the dryer is. It just goes right into the dryer plug, no fancy, expensive installation. So we subsequently had an all-electric Volkswagen Golf, which I loved. This is a little sippy car. And then we later got a Honda that are hybrids, but they're the kind of hybrids that I can do 50 miles in electric, and then it switches easily over to gasoline. So I have not, I can't say that. I think 3 times since 2014, 11 years, I go to the gas station. So every other night I just go plug the car in. So between the solar and the electric cars, we've been feeling that we're doing better about saving electricity at least, and changed our hot water heater and made sure that the new refrigerator also were appropriately certified. And we're very, very mindful of, I think, the silent electricity, all those things that get plugged in unnecessarily that run all the time. So that's the key way that I try to get beside mulching and saving all the waste, but that's beside what the electricity is first important.
All right, what we have here is an experiment and a quest to find out really what happens to our plastics. So what we've done here, we do have our plastics that we know get recycled, okay? Our clear plastic bottles and stuff like that. But then we have other plastics, such as dishwasher soap, products that come in plastic, pills that come in plastic. What do we need to do with these? And then we have a really good one here. We have our favorite kind of plastics that we bring home from our restaurants and fast food places. with our leftovers, and there's the black bottoms with all the clear white tops. We need to find out what we need to do with those. And we have one more that we know what we do with, and that's our soda, our living clans. We know that we get returned and we get credit for that. So our next step is we're going to drive down to one of the main recycle centers in Santa Ana, and we're going to ask them about processing, what they do, if they even take this, because 90% of us are taking these kind of take-home things and we're throwing them in our trash. We think we're getting rid of them. So our next step, we'll see you in Santa Ana.
Hi, I'm Charlie Crater, and I'll tell you about our recycle experience we had just this week. We do have us at our manor, we gather all the plastic and all the aluminum, and then we take it to the recycle center in Santa Ana. Well, we took everything down there yesterday with the expectations, and we separated everything, of course, with the plastic bottles and the aluminum. Well, we also took back the plastic things that you get from the local restaurants, and we definitely have a lot of those, and I know most people do, only to find out that they do not take the plastic containers that we are all receiving from the restaurants. So we need to figure out something better, because they said all they do is put them in the trash. I think my wife Laura had a great idea where we take these containers back to the place that we got them and let them give them back to the manufacturers who are providing them and have them recycled. Just a thought, where it goes, I don't know where it goes from here. Thank you.
Hi, in addition to our electric car and our solar panels, we try to avoid waste in this household. So, for example, we eat with cloth napkins and cloth placemats. Another thing we do is we do take out our compost, and since I like to cook, our compost fills quickly, and we take it to the local bin in Laguna Woods.
My contribution is that I don't eat meat. I haven't eaten meat for 37 years, and according to something I just read recently, for every day a person goes and becomes a vegetarian, they cut their carbon footprint in half for food. So there you have it.
Hi, I'm Lynn. I live here in Laguna Woods, and I'm concerned about microplastics in your tea bags. So, two solutions. One, just buy loose tea. That's not easy, and everybody has tea bags. The other is cut it. Dump it in your tea infuser that you can get for about $7 on the internet. And once you put the tea in there, try it in a cup, try it in a pot, and bye-bye microplastics.
I was particularly concerned about coffee because it's a hot liquid. And so I wanted to eliminate my coffee maker, which, as you see, has a lot of plastic. And I bought an inexpensive metal coffee filter. I still use a paper filter because that takes out even more microplastics. And so all you have to figure out is what you're going to put your coffee in. You could put it in a cup. You could put it in a teapot. Or my favorite, because it stays warm all day and I don't even use any more electricity, is to put it in a thermos.
Hi, my name is Dan. I'm a Laguna Woods Village resident, and my eco practice of the year, my new one, is to recycle at Ralph's in their recycle bin. And for 3 months, I've been collecting all this plastic film, and now I am going to recycle it, and I'm trying to save the bag.
Hi. One of the things I wanted to show you is that I plant as many plants as I can in these burlap bags. I have them all over the garden,